Hello out there. Welcome to Boomer Time, my wonderful Boomer Time family. As you know, I'm your host, Nancy Cogar. And as you also know, I am always looking at ways to empower you, give you new resources, better education, all to prepare you for those complex issues that come up as we age. Every week on Boomer Time, we are talking about the things that impact your life, including your quality of life as you age. That includes legal issues, of course, your health, your money, and your peace of mind. Today, we're covering something that touches all those together, and that is scams. I've talked about these scams before, and these scam artists are busier than ever, and they are using new tools to make it trickier to figure them out. Well, I want to help you figure them out and avoid them with some new tools to fight them and to protect your money, which is, of course, what they're after, right? The results are staggering. Losses each year in the billions. I'm telling you, 2024 was no different. Older adults are the main target and the victims with the biggest losses. So there's new numbers out from the Federal Trade Commission, which tracks this, and the losses are astronomical, okay? A record $12.5 billion was reported stolen through scams and fraud just last year. And that is 25% more than the year before. So that's part of the reason I, spend so much time talking about avoiding these scams. The overall cost just continues to skyrocket. Just 4 years ago, Americans lost far less, 3.5 billion. That's still a lot of money, but compare that to what we're seeing now, right? And this includes identity theft, of course. So the amount of money victims lose through fraud increases with age. And that's partly because older people, well, tend to have more money, right? They tend to have more things to lose. They're also more trusting in a lot of ways, I'd say. So victims in their 60s claimed a jaw-dropping $1.18 billion stolen through fraud last year alone. The FTC found that among the victims included in their ages, they were reporting a median loss of about $1,000, but I've seen far worse than that. I've seen people lose their entire life savings. And these scam artists, they're just good at what they do, and they just seem to be getting better. They can pretend to be from the government, Medicare, the IRS, right? They can pretend to be the police. Sometimes they call and they say that you have to pay an overdue bill. I just got one of these this morning on my phone, right? It was telling me this is the last straw. You have to pay this overdue toll. You know what I did? Delete, right? They say they're businesses like Amazon or PayPal. And even worse, sometimes they can even pretend to be your grandkids. The whole goal is to steal money or personal information from you. Government imposter scams in particular, they grew significantly just from, here's more numbers for you, 171 million in 2023 to 789 million in 2024. That's over $600 million. And that's why these scam artists get my blood boiling. And I've had a lot of folks lose money, whether it's from romance scams or the $10 million Jamaican scam or scammers just pretending to be everything from, like I said, threatening government to your grandkids. You may know someone who's been scammed, and maybe it was you, right? I've been a victim of identity theft. This is something that impacts all of us. And talking about fraud isn't exactly fun, but I think staying informed, that's empowering, right? And so in 2025, being informed is more important than ever because scams today, they're not just shady phone calls from someone claiming to be a lottery winner, agent, or your grandkids. They're smart, high tech, and they're after all of us. So I'm going to ask you to get comfortable. Pour yourself a nice glass of sweet tea, and let's dive into the biggest scams making the rounds in 2025 and how you can outsmart them. I'll be right back. Well, hi there. Welcome back to Boomer Time. We are talking about scams in 2025. They're out there and they're craftier than ever. We are seeing a new accomplice being used by these scammers too. AI, artificial intelligence. There are some new ways to watch out for this stuff. And even if you don't completely understand AI, it's definitely revolutionized everything, right? So it's also revolutionized how scammers operate. They're using AI to write flawless phishing emails so that they look like they're coming from your company or the government. They can create convincing fake voices just with computers. May sound like someone you know, but it's not. And even generate realistic deep fake videos. I see these things on YouTube all the time. It's like we've entered the Hollywood version of fraud, and it just keeps exploding. So here's a scenario, all right? Say you get a phone call, and it sounds just like your grandson. He's crying, and you're listening in closer. He says he's in trouble and he needs money fast. Of course you're going to respond. Of course your heart's going to drop. But guess what? It's not him. It's an AI generated voice created by a scammer using audio they found online. So if something feels off, hang up. Call your loved one directly. Trust your gut because, maybe it's time for us to create secret security codes with our loved ones. It's just one more of the new scams out there. And I just want you to be prepared so you don't become a victim. Let's break down now the top scams that you need to watch out for in 2025. These are causing the most harm, the most loss, and can be the hardest to spot. I'm hoping you might take away some new terminology today because there's some things you may not be familiar with. Phishing, I mentioned that a few minutes ago. So phishing is like phishing, right? It's identity theft, deep fake impersonators, emails and texts that look like they're from, say, your bank, right? Or the IRS. They've got the header, it all looks right, right? And they tell you that there's a problem with your account. They just say, "Here, we're doing you a favor. Click here to fix it." But guess what? The link is fake, and the goal is to steal your personal information. I get these all the time on text messages, on emails. They're usually warning you that your security has been breached or that you need to update a credit card. Sure, you do. Sound familiar? Maybe they even have the logo in the email. I'm telling you, watch out for this urgent language. A lot of times there's typos in that stuff. That's telltale sign. And any kind of links asking you to log in for information. When in doubt, go to the actual company's website and see if that same warning is there. Because more often than not, it's not. Okay, call your bank, call your credit card company. They are more than likely not going to communicate this way. Text messages, okay? I get these things all the time too. I got one this morning telling me I was overdue on some toll bill, and if I didn't pay it, I was in big trouble. So you know what I did? Delete, right? The FTC reports that text message scams are exploding. Why? Because people open them, right? A recent study showed open rates as high as 98%. If you're getting a 98% return on your investment, you're going to keep doing that, right? So these are great odds for the scammers. You might get a fake alert from Amazon's fraud department or a message saying you owe a toll, right? I got that one. Or you missed a package that was delivered. I get all these. Once I got one from UPS, and they'll tell you that it's a link that looks like UPS, but it's fake. And once you click, they're phishing for your credit card or even your social security number. So I wanted to talk about some red flags. If you start getting unexpected texts asking you to click on a link, wrong number messages that turn flirty or trying to sell you something, telling you your car warranty is expired, right? Messages that say there's an urgent charge or delivery issue. Best advice, don't reply. Don't click. Just delete. I'm teaching myself this too, okay? So, especially if you did not order anything. Here's another one that's on the rise, and it just bothers me that people who are looking for work would be scammed. But that's exactly what it is, employment scams. People are being offered jobs online, maybe from someone, reaching out directly. That sounds great, right? But then they're asking for money up front. The money goes for training or for equipment associated with the job. Or they send you a check, right? Saying there was an accident and asking you to send part of it back. They're just looking to get your bank information, okay? Key tip here, real jobs don't ask you to pay for you to work for them. If they do, don't work for somebody like that. They're supposed to pay you, right? And if you get a check and a request to deposit it or send the money back, it's a scam. Another one that really hits hard for older adults is tech support scams. Believe it or not, older adults are 5 times more likely to fall for these. It's a pop up screen on your computer screen that says, hey, boop, 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 your computer is infected, right? Or someone calls claiming to be from Microsoft or from Norton, one of those antivirus companies. They say they can help you. Oh, isn't that great? Are they such a great Samaritan? But guess what? They need to get remote access to your computer and you need to pay a fee. Don't do it. Microsoft is never going to call you, okay? If you did not initiate the call, then it's a scam. Finally, romance scams. These are especially cruel. Scammers building online relationships and then asking for help, money. Hey, buy me a plane ticket. Help me get my sick mother out of the hospital so I can come be with you. Or there's a business deal that's gone wrong and, they're coming after me. In 2023 alone, older adults lost over $1 billion to romance scams. Red flags, they fall in love fast. Avoid video chats. And if they ask you for money, especially gift cards or cryptocurrency, I'm sorry, I know you want love to come your way, but not this way, okay? I've seen people really get harmed, lose their house, their entire life savings. Don't fall victim. Finally, another one that might be less familiar to you, but it's cryptocurrency and investment scams. So we've got Bitcoin. Seems like it's moving all over the place, making lots of money, right? Reached $100,000 at the end of 2024. Hey, that's great news for investors, but scammers are going to jump in there fast because they think you're going to want to make that kind of money. So they use flashy apps, websites, even romance scams, like I mentioned, to lure people into investing. Then guess what? They vanish with the money. So if you've met somebody online that promises you guaranteed returns or says that they can teach you how to trade crypto, it's probably a scam. These are a few of the new games in town. And of course, there are other scams that are just downright persistent. And why? Well, because they're so profitable, right? They're making good money. Why stop doing something that works? I saw a report on a special, it was in Jamaica, in Montego Bay, and they were investigating the Jamaican lottery scam. The FBI just made some major arrests in this case. Just in February, they arrested 8 Jamaican nationals in Mobile, Alabama, for making those phone calls to get your credit card all under the guise that you've won $10 million in the Jamaican lottery and you just need to pay the taxes because it's international, right? To release the prize. Of course, there's no prize. These scammers are making big money. And on this report, I wish I could show you this video. You should see the houses that these scammers are building on those Jamaican islands. Unbelievable. And it's all with your money. Stick with me. I'll be back just a sec. Welcome back to Boomer Time. We are talking scams today. How to identify them, avoid them, and avoid being a victim. Seniors, like I say, are the target more often than not, and the results are big losses. Victims 60 and above claimed a jaw-dropping $1.18 billion stolen through fraud just last year alone. Okay, some of these scammers, like I said, they are downright persistent. I'm sure most of you out there received the phone call that your car warranty is about to expire. I think everybody's gotten that one. These scams may not be new, but they're going strong. Fake sweepstakes, lottery winnings. You won, but you got to pay these fees first. Nope. Nope, 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 nope. Don't do that. These real lotteries don't charge you for you to claim your prize. That's no prize at all. That's a booby prize, right? Debt collection threats. These scammers are posing as collectors, demanding immediate payments, sometimes threatening arrest. Don't fall for it. Fake government officials, the IRS, Medicare, or FBI demanding payment. That's not going to happen. That's a scam, okay? The government doesn't do business by threatening phone calls. Medical alert systems, those are great tools for seniors, to be independent, but there's scams with those out there too, offering free systems. All you have to do is give them your bank information. Don't bite, And if you get a call from a loved one, verify it first. So, most importantly, how do you protect yourself if you're a caregiver? And how do you protect your loved ones from becoming a target? Well, I wanted to talk about that too, because there's lots of us out there who are caring for older, adult parents. So here's a few suggestions, all right? Go over the essentials. Be skeptical. If it feels off, it probably is. Trust your gut, right? Take your time before acting on any message, phone call, or email. Sometimes we say, count to 10 before you hit send, right? You might change your mind. Never click on suspicious links, especially in text messages or emails from people you don't know or didn't expect. They'll get back in touch with you if it's legitimate, but more often than not, it's not. So verify, then respond. Don't trust caller ID. They can fake that too. Don't trust links. Call your bank. Call the company that's reaching out. Call the person directly using a verified phone number. This one drives me crazy, but it's so important, and that's use strong passwords. It's so hard to remember all those passwords. Put them somewhere secure and write them down so you don't forget them, but make them secure. And there's even ways on computers now you can generate passwords just automatically. And set up two-factor authentication whenever you can. Finally, here's something really simple but works, okay? Talk about scams. One of the best ways to stop a scam is to talk about it with your family and friends. That's the reason I'm talking about it here with you on Boomer Time. You might save someone else from becoming a victim. I hope that's what I'm doing. And if you've been a victim, stay tuned and I'm going to tell you how to report it. Okay? So, as I mentioned before, the Federal Trade Commission and the FBI are the major enforcers when it comes to these types of crimes. So, they just came out with some new figures for 2025, and there were around 1.14 million reports of identity theft last year. Almost 500,000 were related to credit card fraud. And in the military community, it's up astronomically, 477 million just in 2023. And email is the most common way these scammers approach their victims, followed by phone calls and then text messages. Criminals love social media. Among those who report losing money to a scam, the most significant losses come through bank transfers. More than $2 billion direct from your bank account. And cryptocurrency, $1.42 billion. The main door, really is your cell phone. And if you're on the computer, your email. So with that in mind, it requires more diligence in sorting through incoming emails, calls, and even text messages. So I wanted to talk about where to report fraud if you spot a scam or if you become a victim, okay? I've mentioned it a couple times during the show, but report it to the Federal Trade Commission. They've got a website that's reportfraud.ftc.gov. And I'll put that on my website as well, but that should be easy to remember. reportfraud.ftc, like federaltradecommission.gov. And the FBI's got an Internet Crime Complaint Center, which is ic3.gov. That's pretty easy too. The more information they have, the better they can identify these patterns, link causes, and ultimately catch these people. You can also see all kinds of things about what's going on out there. I find it interesting and I like to keep up to date on those. But here locally, okay, who do you call here locally? Well, I would say call the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office. They've got a property crime unit. And the telephone number would be 423-209-8940. I'll put that on my website too, along with some information. Scams and safety, FBI, be smart. They say, unfortunately, the scams are big business, which is requiring us to be more vigilant. So that's what I will keep having episodes talking about scams, right? So I want to keep you aware, encouraged, and empowered, really. So thank you so much for joining me today. And I'm just going to keep on reporting the things that I think will help you out there. If you've got an idea, hey, reach out to me at nancycogar.com. That's my website, nancycogar.com. And you can schedule a strategy session if you want to do some planning, or if you just want to get subscribed to my email and my newsletter. I'm glad to do that. Or, let me know what you think of the podcast. I'd be interested to know. So, alrighty, folks. Well, thanks for staying with me, and I hope this was helpful. I'll see you next time.